Quiet, please.
It's never been easier to stay informed about social issues. Where traditional media shines a light, social media brings them to the masses and provides a platform for people to speak out or even enact some significant change. Sport has often been a driver of said change, and tennis has had influential activists like Arthur Ashe, who supported boycotts of the apartheid regime in South Africa, and Billie Jean King, a pioneer for equal pay. They, in turn, have influenced others. At the 2020 US Open, Naomi Osaka wore face masks bearing the names of murdered Black Americans. Madison Keys set up her own non-profit organisation to combat cyberbullying. Sir Andy Murray regularly speaks out on gender equality. But why aren't more players leading on human rights issues? Well, a professional athlete's life is all-consuming. Success in any sporting discipline requires single-minded devotion. Your focus can't drift to other things. On the other hand, some players need a vocational outlet outside of tennis to keep them grounded. Take Marcus Daniel, the doubles specialist turned philanthropist who founded the High Impact Athletes charity. He had this to say on our Baseline Exchanges podcast.
I can only speak for myself, and my experience on tour has been, if I didn't have the other things, I would go insane. Tennis is such a narrow, single-minded focus in your life, and it has to be, right? Like you don't get to the top of a sport as global as this without being really self-absorbed for large parts of your life. But on the other hand, when I get off a tennis court and when I get out of a tennis center, I need things to take my mind away from it. My problem has actually sort of been from the other direction, where I've often found myself having a little too much outside of tennis and have lost a bit of energy to that.
Being a pro athlete and activist is a balancing act, then, in terms of focus. But those who get it right can be just as successful on court as they are as shaping the world around them. King, Ashe, Osaka and the Williams sisters all won major titles and made significant impact through their campaigning. The more successful you are, the more people you can reach with your activism, but there are risks attached. Success in tennis brings money and a lifestyle far removed from most fans. Some may not appreciate being told to change their ways, no matter how well meant, by millionaires who don't shoulder the same risks. Accusations of hypocrisy are often levelled on athletes who comment on causes such as climate change while flying around the world. Lou Blaustein, founder of Eco Athletes, which aims to encourage sports stars to speak out on the effects of climate change, told Baseline Exchanges.
To me, it's athletes who move the needle on social issues, right? From racial injustice to gender, to equity, to issues of war and peace. There is something unique about climate change in terms of all other issues, right? At least this is what I found in talking to athletes, and they'll say it's too sciencey. They'll say it's too political. And then the third is they cite the fact that they have big carbon footprints personally because they have to fly to play their sports. And so they fear being called out as a hypocrite.
Tennis players must stand above that and be braver. The results are often worth it. In 2005, the day before her appearance at the Wimbledon singles final, Venus Williams approached the Grand Slam board to urge them to offer men and women equal pay. She recalls telling them, "All of our hearts beat the same. When your eyes are closed, you really can't tell next to you who's a man and who's a woman." And I asked them to think about their daughters, their wives and their sisters. How would they like them to be treated? Sometimes we lose track of, I don't even realise, our own bias and our own prejudice. And we have to confront ourselves. It took another 2 years, but in 2007, the All England Club awarded men and women equal prize money for the first time. Aptly, Venus lifted the trophy that year. She told ESPN, "I'm used to winning, and I'm used to not just winning by chance, but putting in the work and getting prepared enough to know I can get the win. I'm not afraid of hard work. None of us were. That was how I saw it, whatever it takes." So what might stop others stepping up? A 2010 study of those who took part in individual sports showed they scored significantly lower than team players in social investments, but higher for assertiveness and autonomy. reinforcing the idea tennis players might be too focused on their craft to consider social issues, with obvious exceptions. Players may also be wary of potential psychological scars. Activism springs from a burning sense of injustice, and those who step up for people can feel a sense of personal responsibility. Add that to the pressure of elite competition, and it may be too much to bear, especially given the abuse they may receive on social media. But there are plus points for the budding sporting activist. Just as firms have corporate social responsibilities, so do top athletes, whose affairs resemble small businesses anyway. And activism can play a role in a player's brand value. Companies such as Nike and Procter & Gamble have both spoken out on social issues, and it's no coincidence both sponsor Osaka, an outspoken supporter of Black Lives Matter. New Balance and Coco Gauff have similar player brand activism synergies. While very few pro tennis players visibly fight for social justice at present, the climate is changing. Social platforms, tie-ins with brand values, the examples set by others, and waves of societal pressure mean it's increasingly likely we'll see more change for good from the tennis world.